So what is the job of a leader? What is the leader's job? I mean, that's a question that's asked a bunch and it's answered a bunch. And there are some really strong beliefs around what this is. And I don't know if my belief is going to be shared by many. But let's talk about it anyway, because again, I'm trying to share with you genuinely what I've experienced and what I'm up against. Here's what happened. I was on LinkedIn. I was shared a post to look at that was suggested as this is a good post. And while some of what this cat's saying online is valuable, I believe it accentuates a nuance that is insidious and harmful to both leaders and folks in companies who may not profess themselves to be leaders, and the whole organizational model. That's a big statement, I know, and I don't have all the answers, but I read this article, and the very first sentence is, a leader's job is not about delivering great results. I actually completely 180 degrees disagree. A leader's job is about results. Now, I think what he's getting at, and you can nitpick anybody, and you guys could just completely strip this podcast down and argue with me on every word. I get it. So I'm not trying to do that, but let's hang with it. Let's say, okay, where are you going here, bub? So the next sentence is, but about creating an environment where people deliver great results. Now we're talking. So I think where we're at here with this, for me, from my perspective, I think a leader's job you take out the not. A leader's job is about creating great results by creating an environment where people can deliver great results. So I do. All right. So we're agreeing. So, okay, we're in the same neighborhood. We're doing our thing. Then the third sentence is where the record screeches, the piano player stops, everybody looks up. It's one of those moments for me. Anyway, again, it says, this means shielding your team from the toxic elements that can hinder their growth and well-being. Okay. I've heard it. You've probably heard it. A leader's job, a manager's job in a large company is about shielding them from the stupid above, right? Or whatever else, whether the noise above or the whatever it is. And you know what? I buy that. I get that. In lots of organizations, there are just countless different asks and email threads and requests and silly stuff that comes from people who seem like their only job is try to waste the time of your team and things that are going on. I get all that.
We need to talk about your TPS reports.
I actually think a leader's job is about creating the context, not shielding your team. This is where the nuance is. This has victim written all over it. Employees are victims, and I am your savior as your leader. I am here. I am your Lord and protector. You huddle up over there in the corner, and I will save you from the big bad bosses above or whatever it is. I'm being facetious. I get it. I'm going a little bit out there. But I got to tell you, I think this is dangerous. We hire people all the time that come from another company, and rooting out this PTSD, this like Stockholm syndrome that's created in traditional organizations, whether here in the U.S. or anywhere. Boy, it is a lot of work, and it's a lot of overhead, and y'all are costing me a lot of time working with people to get them out of that. It follows on, and it shows a graphic of an umbrella covering over the huddled employees that are all happy while the leader, the manager, the leader, the phrase y'all use, is holding the umbrella, shielding them from the environment. Man, that's cool and all. I get it. But again, I think that just reeks of victim, savior, that kind of stuff. And I'm not saying this guy's got malintent. Of course not. He's trying to do good things. And this may be what somebody needed to see today and feel protected and all that. That's great. So I'm not beating him up on that. But I got to tell you, I think that whole victim culture thing that can go on in organizations can really be detrimental to the success of an organization. So as in my experience as a leader, what I've really focused on is about creating that context, that environment. We have what we call our pact, and it's based around four things. We are going to strive for possibility, not constraint, not what we can't do, not what we've never done before, not what somebody said we can't do or have never done before, but what is possible. And then that's balanced by accountability. Okay, we're going to search for what's possible, but sometimes just because we can do it doesn't mean we should. And just because, okay, this is something we can technologically put together, or this is something we want to do with our customers and all this kind of thing. But does it matter? Does it count? Does it make a difference? And is it going to be something that's going to help us ultimately be successful in the business? And then there's the other side of accountability, of course, which is, are we doing what we said we're going to do? That's the other piece of that. We can get all caught up in the exciting possibility and everything else and running around, but if we aren't catching it up and doing the things we said we're going to do and make sure we're completing all that. That's a piece. So then the next one is championship. And that's the C, PAC, and then there's a T. But championship is about lifting one another's up. It's not about being their Lord or protector or protecting them from things. There's some of that, I guess, that can go on, but it's more about championing one another. So, and this goes to any athletic event, or you look historically, great champions are ones who help others around them be better. Champions on their team, they're better. In fact, they make the competition better. A good champion makes the competition better. So it is about all that uplifting, right? That whole part of it. Not protecting, not shielding, but uplifting. Like, get out in the front line with me. Let's roll. It's a very different nuance. And I know it's nuanced, but it's important. And so then the last thing, the T, is all about trust. And so that whole, and that's not a trust like I'm worried you're gonna slip a $5 out of my wallet or something. It's just it's a trust that we're in this together, and I'm gonna trust that you're gonna be there. You're gonna be on my right, you're gonna be on my left, whatever else. If I charge forward, I know you're behind me, or if you're charging forward, I'm behind you. It's a deeper level of trust, more at the core. And so that's our context. I feel at our company, that at Mountain Leverage, that is my number one job, is to set that culture. That's the who we are. That's the context. So if you come to work at Mountain Leverage, or you work with Mountain Leverage as a partner or a customer or any kind of stakeholder, you got to look around and kind of feel that environment, that context. I don't know where you are in the world, but it's like walking a West Virginia trail here in the Appalachian Mountains. If you can picture it, it's for me, that's kind of like a perfect place. I'm walking along a stream. It's a winding trail. There's beautiful trees, green leaves. There's maybe some sun shining through. That environment just lights me up. I'm ready. I'm ready to be the best me, whatever it may be. And there's lots of environments. Maybe yours is in on the beach, or maybe it's in the middle of a heart of a city, or who knows, the middle of a game, or a bunch of people in a bar at night. I don't know where your great context is, where you're your best self. I don't know. It depends on who you are and what you're doing. Maybe it's with your family in the backyard. Doesn't matter. But that context, it just, now you can be free. You can be you. And that's what the pact does for us. And that's really important to me. But what I don't feel is my responsibility as a leader is to be your Lord and protector. Now, I feel responsible for everybody at our company. I absolutely do. But I absolutely feel responsible for results as well. But it's not because they're weak or they're victims or they need this. It's just, that's how I work. I would think, and if you asked each of our employees, they feel responsible for me. They feel responsible for my success and my flourishment, just as I feel for them. And maybe, okay, I get it. Maybe because I'm the founder and those things, maybe it isn't just the same, because the ship goes down, it's all me. I get it. Maybe they can go find another job. But I don't really want to even worry about drawing that line. It doesn't matter. It's all a relative line. The fact is, they're concerned about my flourishment. I'm concerned about their flourishment. And neither of us are thinking like we're lords and protectors over one another. And that goes across our company. Now, that works for us, but it also adds a lot of overhead. And people are used to a structure where my manager protects me from this, and I do these things. And I know I'm being a jerk. I get it. But I think it is an important message that we send to one another without words when we behave this way, and we think that way. I really do. And maybe you disagree, and great, let's hear about it. But again, you're in an environment, you pop in a fast-paced, difficult, highly hierarchical, tons of red tape, that kind of thing. I get, you could see your mantle, the task you pick up is shielding your employees from that noise. That's cool. And if you've got to do that, hey, more power to you. I guess maybe I would just challenge you to try to do it in a way, or think about it in a way where it's not like they're the victims and I'm the Lord. Not that you're going to think that, the Lord thing, but it just, I don't know, man. When you read that and you look at that context, it hits me that way. And so, yeah, I'll hold your umbrella if it's raining, for sure. No problem. But it just feels very, very, very wrong in that way for me, for us, and what we're doing. Maybe for you, it's not. At the end of the article, what does he say here? Leadership is about empathy. I agree, 100%. Leadership is about empathy. Then he goes on to explain why. He says, the greatest leader is the one who serves others the best. Be the best one. Now, how can you argue with that, right? But I'm about to. So while I believe leadership is indeed about empathy, and the greatest are those who serve others the best, but not as their caretaker or their Lord, because they're victims or they're not capable of doing it themselves, the best leaders demand a context for flourishment and empower their people to explore that context with their own bit of magic. And I think that ultimately is what makes a good leader. candidly. And so as much as this guy means well, and he probably has way more degrees or way more whatever than me, and it doesn't matter. It's not a contest. And maybe the applicability of his message in another environment is perfect. But for me, in my context, it's not. It's not at all. In fact, it's poison. And so what I would say to you is maybe there's this expert or that expert saying something that sounds like, oh, this is great. I've found many, many times that those things that seem great, when I apply them in our context and what I'm trying to do and in my path, doesn't play out. And you can take that in business. You can take it in your family. And sure, yeah, communities as well. It all applies. And so I may be saying something you already know, but that extra filter, that extra step to go, what else is this saying potentially? And it's not a nitpick, man. Everything you say today on social media or whatever else gets twisted 15 different ways. It's political, it's religious, it's everything. I'm not saying that. I just assess it. And this guy's probably a great dude and he's probably successful and killing it. But his message for me in my context would be absolute poison. It'd be cyanide pill. And I think that's something you may have cyanide pills out there that are coming at you, and it's not so easy to see them. Not so easy to see them. So anyway, I hope this is helpful. I don't know. As we're all on our journey, we see things. This may have resonated with me differently as a younger man, a younger leader. I don't know, but now I just see it very clearly for what it is, and hopefully, it's been help to you. So anyway, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, I hope you're flourishing.